Society need for change, but the question I go want for ask this evening is the one them way gets political powers at this present moment enough for effect the change where we need? The whole democratic system in our country need for be rethink. Good evening, this now your program time for NGC. Where they come to you on AIV television, channel 33, and also on radio 101.7 FM. Time for NGC, as always, na a paid program where the National Grand Coalition, they bring come to na every last Saturday inside the month. Me on name na Dr. Doma, where they bring this program come to Una. Today we want to discuss governance issues na the country. How things done they unfold. Lot of issues that happen, yet still we it can't yet still not able to resolve them. Things falling apart. We foresee them take all things well? No. A one-on-one discussion this evening with a civil rights activist, a lawyer, by the name of Augustine Sengbe Mara. Good evening and welcome to the program. I think this is the very first time we get you at the show this today. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm really excited because I always don't mention I know they're in any political party, so I'm really honored that NGC as a political party don't identify me work part of my own contribution to good governance or striving for good governance, and then choose me for the on them platform. So I'm very, very humbled by such opportunity, and I really want to thank the leadership of NGC and general membership, because generally speaking, for me, I think that the entire political parties, especially opposition political parties, for being engaging from time to time.
Yes, thank you. With we in him na Augustine Sengbe Mara, we a civil rights activist and a legal practitioner. Well, today we can discuss a lot of issues where they happen. As I say, we topic for this evening are things falling apart. Well, Julius Caesar say the center cannot hold. But yourself can be part of the program. I will definitely open the phone line. The number now 078-3302-99, where yourself can add your voice on things that we will discuss now the program. But mind you, make sure say make will be decent in we discussion this evening. You know, not abuse nobody, not say any word against anybody. Just go straight to the point and be so much more objective, you know, on what you want for talk. Let me start the discussion proper. As I say, things falling apart. And let me build the premise first. Yesterday we suicide, you make a post on Twitter, and I'm going to follow you yesterday. And one thing where an inscription where I could just pull from the tweet yesterday now, you say, how perhaps a party once known for building institutions is now tearing them apart. What actually you mean to try for bring out?
So generally speaking, I mean the party we get the reins of power right now is Salem People's Party, and growing up, fortunately for we, the first democratic elections in 1996, you know, as a young kid, the SLPP in Ghana power, they were interrupted during that period by the civil conflicts, etc., etc. But one thing we know, I mean, when we experience as a nation, that the late President Kaba spent so much of his time building institutions, because back then he recognized, which is a view that I, you know, largely share, that if you are going to build a democracy, if you want to build democracy, you need to build democracy just because you make road or you provide electricity. Because if you don't get good governance, people in the Puella road day, then they tear them poles and they apart. So waiting really they keep democracy in our institutions. So Pakaba spend a lot of time making sure that we get the critical institutions, right? So most of the institutions now will get sector, they're all being come under the reign of Pakaba. For example, the Electoral Commission, for example, the PPRC, for example, then critical democracy institutions. When you look at that SLPP as a party, you look at all that inquests for bill institutions, and you look at how now institutions, for example, by some reports, which are really credible, their institutions here, public confidence and trust in the institutions here, don't really, borrowing the words of some reports, significantly decreased, which is obviously from the EU, then summarized report. So you begin to wonder, and how come a political party, once known for building institutions under their own tenure of governance, the institutions are now apparently public trust and public confidence, they decrease. And not only decrease, they decrease significantly. And once you have a significant decrease of trust in these institutions, waiting they happen, the institutions and they begin to collapse. So good institutions in democracy, they need to collapse because the mortar come off from the wallow or the iron rod shootout. Then they begin for collapse when, for example, there is significant interference with the institutions, or when the institutions are not able to challenge the excesses of the executive power, right? Once if you like the institutions and just a rubber stamp the action of the executive lever of government, then they begin collapse, right? Because we set up the institutions not so because we just want for spending resources, let everybody get job, etc., etc. No, they are created because na dengue for all the democracy together. Na dengue for all them. And I always want to say democracy is not built on the shoulders of one person. I always don't say that. That democracy is not built on the state house, for example. No. Democracy is built on institutions. We get strong institutions, right? Once you have very strong institutions, you know, say NEC, they work, they are very, very objective, they're fair, etc., etc. You know, say PPRC, they work, you know, say judiciary, they work, etc., etc. Once you then get the institutions here, it asks for the executive, and usually, you know, the executive, now they politicians in it. And you know, politicians, their appetite for always, for make sure say, oh, then bypass laws, bypass procedures. You know, all across the world, politicians, they get their appetite. But other institutions, they keep them in check. So once the institutions are able to keep them in check, then they begin crumble. And once they begin crumble, inevitably, democracy, they become weak. And I like the description about things falling apart. So things have not fallen. Fallen means they don't done now. If you say they are falling, yes, they are continuous. So we have an opportunity, you know, for look at these circumstances now and say, you know, let we not allow the institutions here or let things be fallen, right? So it's very critical. And that make a paints the analogy between the previous SLPP and then the SLPP now, where apparently FIBA like now under the watch of the SLPP, then great institutions where this current party been spent so much time and democratic efforts were put together. Then apparently, by virtue of all the studies, some of them were like very credible institutions, right, put together and say there's been significant decrease in trust. And once there's significant decrease in trust, it means say at the end of the day, the institutions here, they begin collapse brick by brick. And I always don't say institutions, they know they pull overnight. One action after another, one process where you allow the institutions for get wrong or for do wrong, now then eventually they crumble institution. So now that make a paint that picture. They say one, you know, previously SLPP was known for building institutions, but now I feel like under the watch, institutions are crumbling. And I can always say, just for digress a little bit, I mean, where you remember, where you look at all the institutions we'll get, then governance institutions, we can always be the point at audit service salion. As one part of the institution, and we don't stand the test of time across regimes. We don't stand up to executive excesses and then call them out. But unfortunately, if you buy like that, last man standing is also fallen.
So definitely we get for discuss a lot of issues this evening. And as you say, we get for discuss more on institutions and also the governance structure.
Yes.
Let me see who say actually they go bad. We as I said in my intro, we not for talk, we for allow say everything well. But remember, say yourself can be part of the program. The number is 078 330299. Definitely you go call and even send you text message, ask question. We get to Augustine Sengbemara, we a civil rights activist and a legal practitioner. We go definitely answer your question or any contribution where you definitely go make. Well, we want to go for a very short break. I think the NGC key always talk about institutional reform. And I remember the other time, Dr. Kande Yunkela Mide, I wake up Sierra Leone, where he make a statement. Let we just listen. We'll go for a very short break. When we come back, the program will continue.
Obama said Africa needs strong institutions that will resist this kind of personal, arbitrary. Obama said Africa needs strong institutions that will resist this kind of personal, arbitrary definitions of leaders. Arbitrary, personal, convenience. It's wrong. Institutions protect systems. Donald Trump could not change the Supreme Court's how they define things. Parliamentarians were courageous to stand up. But here, this is why we educate some of you. You, the next generation. My role in Parliament now, the remaining time that I have, is to educate as much as I can. Yes, I'll use social media more now. To educate. Why? I am hoping some people really feel energized, excited to want to come in. If you don't fix some of these institutions, you're dead. Everything is arbitrary. People just interpret rules the way they like. Constitution says debate. Auditor General's report, they say, we've not been done one before. And somebody gave me that careless talk, but go check, we'll never do one. No. But the speaker told me in his office, Kande, don't worry, it's a constitutional requirement. Hello. It's not only me. Tawa made the motion. Chief Baikur made the motion. I did it. Hassan Priest, Honorable Mara and others have raised it. He just ignores us. That's arbitrary. Institutions have to be beyond an individual. They have to have fundamental values, principles, systems that does not allow this arbitrariness. You decide what leaders mean. No.
Disciplinary actions will not deter you from speaking up. And
well, unless I find in the Constitution, yeah, because I know what para 98, 99, 100 says, what my rights are. Disciplinary action will not stop me talking to the media, never, because indeed I am guaranteed that here under paragraph 98, freedom of speech and debate, parliamentary privileges, 99 and 100. Nobody can...
Well, there are parliamentary guidelines
of course, but my fundamental rights matter too. So maybe we have a good test case for the Supreme Court. When Donald Trump exceeded, right? He goes to the Supreme Court or the Parliament goes to the Supreme Court. So either way, I think now the judiciary comes in. This is why I also maintain that the judiciary is crucial. Crucial in keeping democracy to work well. It is the last place we have.
Well, that's now the leader of the NGC in Parliament, Dr. Kande Yunkela. They now wake up Sierra Leone. And as you listen, you know, it was the first, this was in July, where Emidon begin make, you know, their submission there with regards to institutional reforms, you know, and also it talk about the Auditor General in report say the need for debate, you know, but up to now, we know, but of recent, or just like yesterday, we suicide and call the FCC, the chief administrator, and also the mayor, you know, for answer to some questions them. But one go on for asks, you know, as we deal with institutions now, one go on for asks, the audit reports may don't come out 2019, audit reports that they talk about now, may don't come out, and why now? Why now? Why now? This is the problem. Why now? One go on for asks, why now?
So I think, to be honest, let me mention this, that every public officer should be accountable to the people of Sierra Leone.
Exactly.
Every public officer. Once you're receiving funds from the consolidated revenue fund, you should be accountable, right? So, and I also get for note say, there were also alarming revelations, for example, from the 2019 audit reports. Number of public officers, public offices were, you know, by virtue of that report say, them public officers, them public offices, them being get some questions regarding the fiscal management, if you may. So we all now, they expect the 2020 audit report.
At the heave.
Yes.
Of the 2020.
We all waiting with bated breath for the 2020 audit report. So it's kind of like a little taking us aback. That is not to say Parliament don't get power for, if they want for continue for look into the 2019 audit report. But for let you select, right, just few people or just one institution, anyone for probe into certain matters covered in the 2019 report would then also be very concerning, would be very suspicious. Because once you begin to select one institution, you left a number of other institutions them, where, for example, the 2019 audit reports been covered, then we activists them, we become very, very concerned, right? If you spread the nets across, you bring all institutions them, whether institutions where they are an adjunct of State House, etc., etc. You bring them all, you ask them questions, you probe into them books, etc., etc. We would be comforted with the fact that this is not selective, this is not partial at all. But once you don't begin select one institution and then you probe into them at the very eve of the 2020 report, or the waits now for the 2020 report, I think it's in a way it's very concerning, and it's also very, very suspicious. And I make the point that not to like say me no want to let anybody be accountable. The mayor of Freetown should be accountable to the people of Sierra Leone. The chief administrator on our FCC should be accountable, but that accountability not for be selective.
Okay.
That accountability for spread across all persons, whether that person in a State House, that person connected with State House, etc., etc. Every public officer or everybody will receive funds from the CRF should be accountable to the people of Sierra Leone. But also that accountability process therefore be seen to be honest, therefore be seen to be impartial, and therefore be seen to be objective as well. Because once you not see the elements in our list done, then that process they would be really, really significantly suspicious. So now that make, I mentioned that now our focus is on the 2020 reports, which rumors are that there's a draft, it's about to be, put out in the public, but for the circumstances that we know that emerged very recently.
Yeah.
So yes, just to say that government parliaments, since now parliaments represent the people of Sierra Leone, and they were representatives, and we want at the end of the day law gets a process that the people of Sierra Leone can then be able for identify with, trust, and even able to cooperate with. Because once you select one institution out of a number of institutions and then probe into them for the 2019 report, you know, do similar vigilance for other institutions, then it becomes very, very concerning.
Okay, so let me talk a bit about the composition of the tribunal where they set up for probing or investigate the Auditor General and in deputy. What do you take on the composition of the tribunal?
I think before we talk about the composition, let's look a little about the process. And I've spoken about this. I've been tweet bottom, you know, also write a blog post where I say one, the indefinite suspension is unconstitutional, in my opinion. I'm a lawyer, I'm also constitutional scholar. So I not only, you know, study constitutional law at graduate level, it's, you know, master's level. I also do constitutional law. So I say that because of a number of things, and I don't appear on a few media platforms and don't say that the entire process will lead to the suspension, in my view, nor comply with the Constitution of Sierra Leone. Because the Constitution is very clear in terms of how the suspension should be triggered, in terms of how the complaint, who side the complaints for commot. It says the commission then go notify the presidency, then get a complaint that warrants investigation. Then the president go set up the tribunal and then go suspend the Auditor General. In this case, we see say the complaints come up from State House, come to the tribunal. Under the Constitution, if you come up from the tribunal, come to State House. Then State House now they set up the tribunal, so it's the other way around. And once you deviate from the Constitution, all that procedure and process becomes unconstitutional. And once it becomes unconstitutional, obviously it's a violation of due process.
Okay.
Right? So that's my view. It's out there. It's written, a blog about them. And then, okay, so we crossed the first, we not crossed the first hurdle. It's still there. I mean, like you always say, I mean, lawyers and they're at liberty for challenging processes and, you know, at the appropriate court. But once now you don't set up the tribunal, right? Waiting also the people of Sierra Leone are interested in now who that in the sit down na that tribunal for investigate perhaps two of the most competent professionals in Sierra Leone. I don't know Tamamomo so much because Lara Telopias we all the about as head. But just BNTM, I mean, just a number of things that have been said about Tamamomo in poise for do right, in poise for ensure say the audit, you know, governments, departments, ministries, agencies, etc., gives me a lot of joy that we actually not just liar, we all know, we all don't really expect under the last regime, under this regime, etc., but also for can no say Tamamomo na similar to Lara in terms of the position, somehow, in terms of the competence, and in terms of the dedication to doing what is right. So it's very critical for law we know who that then go sit down at this tribunal, we go can investigate, then we almost with topmost professionals, people that we don't really carry an institution with the whole government to account. You know, we list come out, published, and then we understand say one retired Supreme Court judge, and then two other persons, Abu King and Mr. Lai Farmer. Now the two other persons. I think say me have been the very first person, the very morning we tweet, but the tribunal lay and then raise concerns. And I can always tell people and say in a democracy, everybody get rights for raise concerns. We don't live in a governance system who say you go afraid if you have some concerns about a certain tribunal, where that tribunal day is set up, although me me get entire problem with the whole constitutional process, but the persons that are appointed to sit or constitute that tribunal are people away for me, then for they should be beyond questions. So firstly, I note, and a tweet say, one panel, a consultant, na the AG's office, the other one, a partner, na the AG in farm. And for goodness sake, if we want for CEDAW investigates with topmost professionals, people away don't do work, people away don't ensure say they don't follow the law, they don't discharge their mandates, they don't perform their role. The least we can do them now for ensure say we get a fair hearing. And one thing that is fundamental about fair hearing, now even the composition of the body that you stand before. So if you stand, and one person may complain, oh Mara, we don't think say this is a significant issue, etc., etc. Now say, imagine you get case. Imagine you get a case against your stepbrother, don't you stepmama, sit down for judge that case. I say you go one. I say no, I don't go on that. I say now you don't understand. I say you don't understand now. I say this now, just for really break and down for you understand. I say this person gets case, then they investigate them for a certain case. The person when are the complainant, and the complainant one by a member then where they work together. Two of you other members the way they work together and then sit down. I said, I say that fair hearing is being questioned. I say once there is a question mark in regard the membership of the tribunal, it means at the end of the day, the entire process will be significantly undermined.
Okay.
And for me, I don't know how credible it is, but there are rumors that they contemplate for remove one of the two members who have been tweet about for raise concern in terms of their independence and in terms of possible conflicts of interest.
Okay.
And then I can always tell people and say conflict of interest, it's not so much about the integrity of the person. So this person can be the Pope. But if the Pope can sit down on a tribunal, we involve one per archbishops them. So even if not the Pope, where we assume is the most spiritual person on the face of the earth, the Pope, there will be issues of conflict of interest with respect to the Pope. So it's not so much about whether we question the integrity of the person, it's a question of a potential conflict of interest. And once there's a potential conflict of interest, that person, unfortunately, that tribunal would be significantly impugned by virtue of a potential conflict of interest. So that's my view in terms of the tribunal. Like we assume, say, people that don't say, wait for the tribunal. Let's give Lara and Tamba Momo the best that we have, the best of people. I don't raise any concern for the chairperson when I the entire judge. Yeah. I practice before her as a law. She's a woman of integrity. I don't get any problem with her. But let's also have other people on that tribunal where go, at the end of the day, investigate some of the complaints that we government say they get, which, by the way, then complaints and they largely unknown. Today, I heard the Minister of Information on BBC. Members say the interviewer, the quiz them in terms of the allegation. Without aside the references to there's a breach of this section, but the substance of the allegations are largely unknown to the public. Are largely unknown to the public. And I don't think say any fair process would be a process by ambush. Should not be a process by ambush.
Okay, continue further with Augustine Sengbe Mara. Don't forget, say yourself can be part of the program. I open the phone line now. 078-3302-99. Call now and be part of the program. We talk about governance issue. Things already happen in the country, and we topic for today: things are falling apart. If you want to discuss this, as I say, the number is 078-3302-99. We look into different institutions there in the country. We just take the audit service, and another institution where we go come back and we can look now is judiciary and the Sierra Leone police. But let me go for a very short break. Watch this interview where I will give credit to 98.1. We do this reports, and when we come back, we will definitely come and discuss what the judiciary and also the Sierra Leone police.
Chairman been denying this allegation, and this man been then at the emergency hospital. Been denying this allegation, and this man been then at the emergency hospital. Usai President Bio been go see this man and be promised say he go take care of the hospital bill, and Seth be asked the Salon police for look inside this case. Saturday, November 6, report reach Radio Democracy say Mohamed Kourouma not be able for survive the operation after we the doctor been pull bullets them Panam. We be make Radio Democracy been go waka to the family. Now the exact situation this Radio Democracy be meet, now the host who side this 40-year-old man been there. The first person where we been talked to na the family, na Geneva Kourouma. When I don't pull in mama and be tell we how we be feel, the time where he be get the message say they not shoot him Pekin. This woman been they talk inside Mende, but we been do voice over.
Wait, please, Adim, don't want me Pekin say, if you don't come out Vienna, it will kill him. So I call me Pekin, and one for make it come out Vienna, please, Adim, and me Pekin be assure me say, it will come out Vienna, and from that incident day, me Pekin be assure me say, it will come out Vienna, please, Adim, and I been believing, and I been forget about this case. Past one fine day, June 29, afternoon 10, where I sit down, na do, na me oath. Me phone be ring, and where I pick this call. And the noise in the background. Also, I want me family. He passed me the phone. And where the boss will call me can talk. If he tell me say, they don't shoot you Pekin. And this be me. I take transport and can afford 110. And carry this case to the police. And I be take me Pekin go to hospital. And the way me Pekin condition be day, it be painful.
This mama to this 40-year-old man say, now it's waiting on me time. He no gets power again. And the only thing where in things say, he go take out with na justice where the law for gear.
After we have been hold the police case now police, I just to Bulan, we know what this case. Usa Ibi say, na chook them to me Pekin, and during the time, when we Pekin dey na hospital, I be see plenty bullets for me Pekin body, and me Pekin, we dey suffer bad one na hospital, where we make the president, Dr. Julius Malabio, we go work at me Pekin hospital, and we promise for the justice for in case, and from where police will take statements for me, nothing not happen. So me Pekin not die in hospital, and this make I call on President Bio and other authority then for say then give justice inside this me Pekin in that case.
After this incident, the Salon police been tell the family say, na chook them be chook down pole, but medical reports where Radio Democracy gets from the emergency hospital show say, na bullets them be pulled by this 40-year-old man we been die. The Salon police no be able for confirm or defend this to Radio Democracy, the time where we been do this story. So we talk to Hassan Mara, we been there as witness, the time where this incident be happen na the SLPP party office.
Me don't post it on. Now grab. Now I tell don't I say don't post. I say no say Prince Harry get win our time for more left farm. He get beefing for we. So Lord come on at this scene. So together with the Tom who bag for common. Now he say, hey, they don't know what happened Prince Harry. So all what he can do now he turn. He see me I don't put him up. Now he say now don't put away the water. Now order insecurity. When I Chilos Amara 1 Delta police way the water. Now we go take that police and headquarters. They tell who they serving the Prince Harry. We say one more security. So now order the Chilos Amara for let's shoot don't pull. And back now waste time again. If we get one piece to Nayan, now he set around. A shoot big don't pull before me eye. What the IG so what I do now? This matter he go lie. He say na chook don't pull. Not to chook don't pull. Now shoot the police and shoot them. So don't have this part to the to President Bio need justice for don't pull. As I talk me on life there as risk. Because Prince Harry and me don't pull he want. Me Prince Harry don't jail me don't jail right now as I talk to you I then a court. Court number 2 at the attend court. That same incident IG so what I go to me now court back. For what I go in police and shoot don't Dompo. Why I go save Dompo? I go the 17 back na court. I still in a court.
Okay, so we are back, and don't forget, say yourself can be part of the program 078-330299. You usually watch that video. Don't forget credits to 98.1 for compile that report day together. You know, this is not an incident that may happen with regards to the chairman of the SLPP, Dr. Prince Adin, you know, with one of his bodyguard, you know, allegedly, now the report say, insecurity guard shoots one other person by the name of Don Paul, where also now a party member, you know. Well, we bring this, you know, for just the following probe into the institutions there, the Sierra Leone police and judiciary. You know, there are a lot of issues where they come up. Detention, maximum prisons, you know, cases for the Sierra Leone police, you know, case go there, lapses, you know, for very long time. You know, so what thing you go on for say with regards to this?
So firstly, I mean, just like perhaps every Sierra Leonean, myself read on social media and also been listening to some reports about this incident involving Dr. Prince Adin. As a lawyer, once police investigate a matter, I don't want for comment on the specifics of harm. I want for respect the police within the conducting process, and my expectation that police could do a very good job. And believe you me, when I understand from social media, see them in detain Prince Adin for a night, it was comforting because for me, it sent a message that nobody's above the law, right? Although it's not the sort of magnitude we sabi, but I mean, just the fact that police them in try for do their work, really comforting. And I can always tell people and say, if there's an allegation against you, say you don't commit crime, you know means you don't commit a crime there. Now that make we all get rights to bail. Now that make, for example, even if it's murder, in this case, there's an alleged murder, right? I can always say Prince Adin get rights to bail, which obviously understands say police don't put him on bail.
I just want to take this call quick, then we just seek the views of. Hello, good evening. Your name and who side you call me from?
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, your name and who side you call me from?
It's a peaceful citizen they call around Bukit.
Okay, make your point.
Brother, I want for first of all tell you thank you, and by extension, the NGC party for being so creative and so sensitive to waiting the people they want for you.
Okay.
At least when we see people and they out there, they talk the feelings of people and at least in the end somehow for surmount the pressure. When you never know, you don't underestimate these things. When people is down out there, they suffer in silence, nobody knows for talk for them. They might then get the tendency for think otherwise who will create mayhem in the country. So no sooner we begin get people the way they sit out there, not to them one the way they will pay for can defend. But people the way they sit down wholeheartedly and raise the issue how it's supposed to be. Now just take her from the latter, the issue with my brother the telephone. So I called the last time when they begin for that AIV on Sunday.
Okay.
With all due respect to Lawyer Gabidon, he missed the whole thing. He missed the whole thing. He don't ever accept say there is fraud on that issue. He don't ever accept her. Even though they try for drawing attention. Now this will not get people of integrity in this country. Because everybody gets prize. All men in this country get prize. You send the left hand to the profession. And this profession don't mean say you know it or we may make you read. Some of us not realize but we never read. We know what in English mean. So I really glad it for me, brother. Please,
Okay.
the way I don't take cancel, let them continue for preach. Look what did happen. With this presiding in case, with Camarima in case, presiding as the granted bail. Camarima the land bridge. What is this the show? The way they pull reports, you get people about so civil society people about when they go back to reports to true. But then get their own fixations, you know, reports to the pool. Then they want let people them buy by that thing and day.
Okay.
I'm not even know this country go. Thank you, brother. Lord of people will continue.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So I think we just stay on the.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. So generally, I mean, they say that whatever you are accused of,
Yeah.
and I've always made that case for, say, even if not murder, you are entitled to bail, because at the end of the day, you could be acquitted if the courts don't, you know, the courts don't consider the matter and then realize, say, no, you are not guilty of murder at all, right? So you don't want to keep the person at detention for so long.
Okay. Let me just take this other one. Hello, good evening. Your name and who are you call me from?
Yeah, my brother, how did you mean? I call from Zombies.
Okay, so make your point.
First of all, I thank you for this program. Yeah, my brothers. I thank you, NGC, for this kind of program.
Okay.
Actually, this government don't make the country. Everybody will become silent. Even somebody say the truth. You know how you will talk. You know. But I want to say. In a country which again, people not again for talk true, family or community. That family they for let go before now. They were very difficult. People and for they will talk the truth.
Okay.
With all circumstances. But the way all the country they go, there is people and then now for even they don't talk the truth. They not they even want for talk the truth. I don't know if not this brown envelope or what I mean.
Okay.
But I believe say people are still away stand. Any kind of condition, they go tell the truth.
Okay.
This will go out in our studio.
Okay.
The one thing most to we are so disappointed. So, His Excellency, for unite this country, we expect much from us for unite this country. The way the country goes more, we're not happy. This country for tribal will be united.
Okay.
And we're so disappointed.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay, good evening. Your name and who side they call me from?
Good evening, Mr. Mohammed.
Okay, make your point.
Yeah, but only this give you the difference between especially in issue, though it's Mohammed Kamarimba in issue.
Okay.
Why is there for grant especially bail, so Kamarimba not get bail?
Okay, I will definitely answer you, yeah? Okay, let's just take this other last one there. Okay, good evening. You never know where they call me from.
Good evening, I'm Dawda. I call from Lomri.
Okay, make your point.
Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. You see, these people, we don't call politicians, especially this government we see them, they come with bogosity, ala of people. All within the expectation of the people, within they come with, within they can pay with, they feel. Just come with which ones, not to that one day with one for see. Follow due process and do the thing right. People will appreciate you. How, for heaven's sake, on the eve when the audit reports for commotes, when I get the bold mind for suspend that woman commote. That woman we don't stand an institution, we don't stand the test of time, regime after regime. You just disgrace yourself to the world and the nation at large. It's so disgraceful. Straight up, you don't prompt suspicion that there is something hidden. And waiting hidden, the first thing we don't feel for realizing that anyhow you make that report, it must have gone in some other hands before now.
Okay.
And we must know what in the day. We are citizens, we want to know what in the inside.
Okay.
And we must know the reason for that suspicion.
Okay.
Because Mr. Follow the interview on BBC, there is nothing where they point out here that this not the thing. It's all they put on top no more see. This conduct, when that this conduct one for no.
Okay.
This is taxpayers' money.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Okay. Good evening. Your name and who side you call me from?
Good evening at the country. Some people we talk to police, how they would arrest her. They jump in condition they kill her. I don't want to ask them come on by your condition. Don't come on by understand the jump in condition. When you need to be from this come on by come America, you can't see the 5 weeks that America get 3 weeks salon. The money get this together.
Okay.
The first way comes I'm not running passport from salon to game.
Okay.
Well, one day they don't travel that passport, that they look for some piece of contract.
Okay.
You don't make like say, and the more they talk on that issue with them.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, so a lot of calls. If we say we answer all the calls, then we're not going to discuss. We're not able for multiple other institutions, them or other thing they will want for talk about. But something we one call and make now. So what are the difference between you know, the bail for Kamarima and Dr. Prince Aden? Somebody say you want to make you clarify that.
So quick one, you know, the distinction between the two. One, the bail for Prince Aden, as we know from, you know, social media posts that I read. Na police, they investigate them, and a police can bail. Kamaramba, day before the High Court of Celio,
okay.
And at that High Court, the 9, you know, after a long time, then grant a bail. So what is significant for notes, but the ongoing High Court matter against Kamaramba, now that the judiciary of Celio, you know, receive a lot of training, funding and resources in terms of bail, right? To a point that we should approach bail from what we call a human rights-based approach to bail. As in, the human rights of the accused or the defendant, for always be paramount when it comes to issues of bail, right? Then the fundamental, because at the end of the day, you know, one for detain an innocent man for several months, several years, only for at the end of the day, after the trial, the court fair not say this man not been guilty at all. Now that make bail not defeats the ends of justice at all. Bail not they just because I don't understand. For sexual offenses, they are very, very grave nowadays. We may get alarming reports about them. So I know they try to minimize that at all, right? What will they say, even if it's murder, we will not say murder, and the almost the worst crime there is, right? So even if for murder, you can grant the person who alleged, say, kill, bail. So similarly, for sexual offenses, whoever they stand trial, entitled to bail. And another thing say, you for keep bail, you for drag bail over a very long period of time, because at the end of the day, even if you grant that person the bail now, the person already don't serve a very long period in detention, and he will, for defend the action, would have been significantly impaired, significantly interfered with. So now that make bail is granted, not so because the one for say, oh, you're not guilty, no. Now for all that balance between whether you're guilty or you're not guilty. Because at the end of the day, if you're not guilty at all, then keeping a detention throughout your trial process, it would be really, really unfair to you. So now that make usually then a grant bail.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the entire bail process, but come remember, now the High Court in any day, we understand say it's been granted bail. From statement from judiciary say you know don't comply with the bail condition, etc., etc. But again, like I mentioned, if we get a court system where they don't approach now a human rights-based approach to bail. That approach there would be such that the person entitlements to bail then go be the overriding consideration. Because if that may be the overriding consideration, it means say most of them roadblocks here where they rebut in terms of where they don't process them, etc., and say get 2 passports, 1 passport you not show, the other passport. All the roadblocks here no go exist if you get a human rights-based approach to bail.
Okay.
Because then the emphasis will be on the right force.
Okay.
And the entitlements to bail, right? And for ensure, because we have a system whereby you can even be granted self-bail. As in, now you self-design for yourself. And if you get somebody when a leader of a political party, right? Somebody where they lead the whole political party, when an opposition figure, I think, in my opinion, right, that person they qualify for let enter into self-recognizance for himself.
Okay.
Right? Dande not going and defeat the ends of justice. If Kamaremba at the end of the day guilty of the offense for which is a standing trial, then go convict him. But if he's innocent, then go acquit him. And the fact that he already did on bail, right, also go ensure say he would not have been disadvantaged by a long period of detention. Assuming at the end of the process they acquit him, it would be really, really unfair for them person on in a detention for a crime where they can acquit him for. So that's very, very basically the distinction. And my opinion, if they adopt a human rights-based approach to bail, then all the artificial roadblocks, all the hear about, but passport, no passport, available, etc., affidavits, no affidavits, would not exist.
Okay.
Because waiting will exist, now the overriding consideration say this man entitled to bail. And once this man entitled, and once we all aware, it's public knowledge, that is a leader of a political movement, it can't be given bail on a self-recognizance basis.
Okay, let me just take this last call, then we go continue the discussion. Hello, good evening, your name, and who are you the call away from? Hello, good evening, your name, and who are you the call away from?
How did they call from Dwazak?
Okay, make a point.
2 things. First of all, this station, come on with this program until have passed the radio part of her.
Okay.
Secondly, NGC na party na the opposition party now, with majority of this the people of this country don't turn their attention to. This program now a very good program, a very educative program. For 1 hour, for God's sake, it's just too really.
Okay.
Please, NGC, we are named up big. So we are increase the hour of this program so that the general populace will go express with you about the thing that we will discuss and waiting, we mean for that party day. Come remember in talk, want to talk about.
Oh, I think we don't lose that caller day. Okay, so I want to just touch quick, hardship and the economy. What will be your opinion on that?
I think I read Dr. Junkeler a short piece on, just with debts them, the fact that they don't go so up, and the fact that just what would they spend for service, not only domestic debts but also foreign debts. We just pay their interest and on debts, domestic and foreign debts. Then pass, for example, reallocation for agriculture, for example, and spell out a number of other sectors. For education, it's almost the same. For waiting government they allocate for education. What do they spend for service with debt? Almost equal to waiting with a spend, right, per education. And mind you, this regime campaign on the fact that they get the free quality education program, which is the flagship program for this regime. So imagine you're spending almost the same amount of money you're pouring into education. You spend that amount for service, domestic and foreign debt. So it tells you that with debt just a grow, right? And what's also significant for note, now that we don't talk a lot about how we get proliferation of institutions. You remember that time we they can set up all the Ministry of Environment, where, for example, you get the Environmental Protection Agency, etc., etc. You know, just the order, or just all the institutions then where they spring up, right? And always I can always refer to NGC when they look at all them prices then. The markets. I tell you what, when there's an economic boom, now corporates, how much should they buy oge? How much should they buy granates? How much should they buy pepper? That's how you know. You don't need them. You don't need them professor from Harvard for I can tell you. Once there's an economic boom, the person down there in Abacha, they know say there's an economic boom. No bookman or they for can tell them. Remember, them share one video where one fuller leader been talk to the bank governor in terms of where say the economy didn't treat. Right? It was such a brilliant, because once you have an economic prosperity, you don't need studies, right? The one way they go markets where they cook, and then first they begin to say things they don't go cheapo. But once continuously then they say things they don't tranga, prices they don't they go up, prices they don't they go up, it means say there's actual hardship.
The sad realities of it.
Yes. Plus the fact that once you get fuel prices where just they go up, it means say they go negatively impact on basic commodities.
Okay, let's just take 2-3 messages then. Time.
Yes.
That caller just tell you the same thing. Say,
yes.
This 1 hour not enough.
Yes. So I need for extend.
Exactly. So this one is a good evening, NGC. This program is in place and timely. Please, will it be possible for you to have it twice a month? Because almost all state institutions has failed the state and its people. Okay, I think the producer, the listing you now, definitely he go take that into consideration. This is what I want to say. We are expecting you people to win the hearts of the people from one of the concerned citizen at Majid Town. Another one they say the bank governor must face the ACC for wasting our monies and paying bribe. Now we have clearly seen the calculated ploy of to remove the auditors from office. This government has stolen a lot of money. Okay, I will not go down that trend there. I will take the last one. We try for wrap the program these evenings. This one is say, when this guest speaker has finally noticed that our public institutions are failing simply because of the lack of public trust. These are the question we this person they ask.
I think there's been a growing concern over our institutions. When we turn to NEC.
I think EU back make than the
recommendation. Yeah. So NEC, for example, in terms of composition, the role we NEC they play. New been pulling reports in terms of Kabbalah elections. So all the institutions here, not only NEC, for example, the police, you see say the police always, as always, the executive, they use the police for silence opposition groups, where actually the role of the police now for ensure say them protect and also ensure say the rights of opposition groups are realized by making sure that they know side the government, but making sure there is a level playing field for all actors in governance. And I've said this, that opposition is needed in a democracy.
I think you go add your last word, Pandis.
So, my last word would be that
sing for justice. Yes, sing for justice. The Institute for Legal Research and Advocacy for Justice, ILRIJ, presents Sing for Justice fundraising.
The things where activists and say they fall apart, not continue down this trend. Okay. And it's significant that we ensure, say, if we build anything, right, once we fail for build with institutions, once we fail for getting institutions where independent, where they discharge their mandates fairly, objectively, and efficiently, anything else we'll do, no go improve with democracy. Okay. What it really improve with democracy, na institution. So we urge not only to government, but also to opposition groups. Now let we all do our best for ensure, say, we not only build institutions, but for defend the institutions where they come under attack by the executive lever of government.
Thank you so much for you making.
Thank you. And I joined that caller for say, I think say 1 hour, really short, because by the time we begin with the conversation, we're caught up by time.
The producer they list away. So one for wrap them up this evening. What is coming is better than what is gone. Obviously, that's how they wrap them up for this evening. It has been a very lengthy discussion and entertaining, you know, and educative somehow. Shortly we're going to come back next month. Me don't be Dr. Doma for say plenty thank you. So all the one that will put hands together for be part of this program. For say plenty thank you to NGC UK and I. We always the give them support for me this program come to Una. So the one that will send them text messages, the one that will also will call this evening, I want to say plenty thank you. Well, we're going to see back after the Christmas and the New Year. I want to say Merry Christmas in advance.
Yes.
Arthur Pierce and Musa Kamarana, they produce this program. So the next month, Dr. Doma, they say bye-bye.